Brando and Bronko and the Sweet Shop. On the corner of John Kennedy Street at number 7, two cheerful cockroaches named Brando and Bronko made their home in an old abandoned trash bin. Best friends since they were tiny tots, they did everything together, munching on pie crusts, sipping on juice droplets, and every night, sneaking into nearby houses to feast on leftovers and watch movies while the humans slept. When darkness fell and people drifted off to dreamland, the tiny duo would scurry out of their trash bin, their tummies rumbling with hunger. They'd dash toward house number 7, their favorite spot in the whole neighborhood. Though they sometimes visited other houses for a change of scenery, they always returned to lucky number 7. They had nibbled a special entrance hole into this house, their very own secret doorway. Sometimes for extra fun, they'd slip through open windows or doors left slightly ajar. On special adventure nights, they'd hunt for new paths to test their amazing acrobatic skills. Night after night, Brando and Bronko would quietly sneak into the house for their evening banquet. With curious appetites, they loved to sample every morsel they could find: sandwich bits, pizza edges, cookies, banana peels, but nothing made their little hearts flutter more than discovering forgotten treats like pies, cookies, or donuts. When the first light of dawn peeked through the windows, they'd scurry back home, careful not to be spotted and squashed by a slipper, because nobody wants cockroaches as house guests. One morning, returning from the nightly adventure, Brando and Bronko discovered their trash bin home completely stuffed with garbage, buried under a huge black plastic bag brimming with cockroach delicacies. They decided to explore this treasure trove and planned to hop out when they heard the garbage truck rumbling down the street. While digging through the rubbish, Bronko struck gold, a massive chunk of chocolate. He called Brando over, and the two friends attacked the sweet treat with gusto. After gobbling it up, tired from their night of feasting and exploring, they curled up side by side and drifted off to sleep. Bang! A sudden noise jolted them awake. Before they could scamper away, the garbage bag closed around them, tumbled over, and all the trash came crashing down, burying the tiny friends. They called out to each other, scrambling through mountains of garbage until they finally reunited. Working together, Brando and Bronko chewed through the plastic bag, creating an escape hole only to find themselves inside a trailer piled high with mountains upon mountains of garbage. "Run for it!" Bronko cried out. Though the garbage truck was still rumbling along, they didn't think twice. They leaped right out. With a soft thud, they landed smack in the middle of downtown, where blinding lights flashed, strange noises blared, and dangers seemed to be waiting around every corner. "This doesn't look anything like our neighborhood," Brando whispered, gawking at the towering skyscrapers and streets packed with honking cars. "We need to find a hiding spot. Quick!" They scampered away from the busy main street as fast as their tiny legs could carry them. Just around the corner, a familiar sight made their antennae twitch with joy: a row of plump trash bins. Even better, they spotted a cardboard box nearby. The two friends darted inside and finally caught their breath. "Now what, Bronko?" Brando asked, his voice shaky. "How on earth will we ever get back home?" "First things first," Bronko replied with a reassuring pat on Brando's back. "We'll wait until the stars come out, then try to find our way home in the dark when it's safer for little bugs like us." So they huddled together in their cardboard shelter, occasionally peeking out through a tiny rip in the corner, watching as the sun slowly dipped below the horizon. Once darkness blanketed the city, they cautiously tiptoed out of their hideaway and scurried off in the opposite direction from where the noisy garbage truck had carried them. As they tiptoed through the shadows, tiny Brando's antenna wiggled. "Do you hear that?" he whispered to Bronko. Something was following them. They turned around with scared little eyes, but couldn't see anything in the dark. They scurried forward a bit more when, tap, 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 there was that spooky sound again. The cockroach's 6 skinny legs started to shake like jelly. When they peeked behind them, they saw something that made them freeze. A big black cat with only one eye, staring right at them. Eek. They squealed, not even checking if the cat wanted to play or pounce. They zoomed away super duper fast. Just when they thought they might have to run forever, they spotted a huge gate. What good luck! The gate had a teeny tiny gap at the bottom. Quick as a wink, they squeezed through the opening, flopped down, and tried to catch their breath, going huff, puff, huff, puff. When they felt brave again, the two friends stood up to see where they were. Their little bug eyes grew wide as saucers. Could it be? Yes, they had found the most magical place ever, a sweet shop. Right before the twitchy antennae was a wonderland of treats. Colorful donuts, gooey pastries, and sparkly candies sat in pretty rows, just waiting to be tasted. Wow, Bronko gasped, forgetting all about being scared. Look at those chocolate donuts. And those gooey cream ones. Ooh. And the jam-filled ones look like little pillows. And those pink strawberry ones are so pretty. Brando smiled the biggest smile ever and dashed toward the donut counter. Soon they were having a teeny tiny taste party, taking little nibbles from fluffy donuts and tiny licks of rainbow frostings. Everywhere they looked was another yummy treasure. They bounced around like they were on a sugary trampoline, not knowing which scrumptious treat to try next. It didn't take them long to fill their tiny tummies, and oh my, did they overeat. When not even a crumb more could fit in their round little bellies, they waddled under the shelves and fell fast asleep. When they woke up, morning sunshine was already streaming through the windows. Suddenly, they heard something that made them freeze like popsicles. Wait a second. What's that noise? Brando squeaked. The garbage truck, Bronko shouted. And together they scrambled toward the door. As they zoomed past, they nearly bumped into the shopkeeper, who spotted them and began screaming and hopping around in fear. But Brando and Bronko were too excited to notice. They had eyes only for the garbage truck. There it was, right across the street, collecting trash from the nearby shops. Brando and Bronko spotted the truck and gave each other a knowing look. Our ride has arrived, Bronko announced, and they both dashed across the street to climb aboard the truck that would most likely be heading back to their neighborhood. They made it just in time. With their sticky little feet, they quickly scurried up the side of the truck. After a short, bumpy ride, they were back in their familiar neighborhood. The truck stopped right in front of their home, and Bronko and Brando hopped off right away and headed straight for their trash can. Once safely home, they crawled into the cozy beds made from matchboxes and drifted off into sweet dreams.